Pete.
Hey.
Pete.
Bow to your offer.
Hey, Peter, I sent you a good trade for your RFOX 2020. I see you just ignored it.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I sent that trade out to a lot of people, and every single person that got back to me said either he's a numbnut, he's a douchebag, he's an asshole, and his other things that I will not mention.
Hey, Pete, yeah, it's
I know
amazing.
you share it.
Pete, there's this guy that sent you a 4-to-1 trade. One of the most generous trades. The guys on here are all waiting for you to click accept.
Wait, was that 4 pizzas?
Hey,
4
Gecko.
pizzas, one really little foil, just this tiny little foil.
If you want to see what the floor is for trading for Pete's RFOX 2020, look at his trade history with Germs.
I think if I was looking for an RFOX 2020, I'd probably have to give it at least 5.
I did change. Well, this is a 2 of 2, and you can't get the other one, so you know. Anyway.
Well, listen, guys, I hate to break the myth, but Pete has accepted the trade.
Oh no.
I mean,
has he really?
He has. That's
okay. Well, that breaks the chance
What
that
was-
he's
what was
possibly
the
devil
trade?
hands.
What was the trade?
4 foil pizzas for some other thing. I don't know.
Just some tiny little. I think what was it? What did I need? Was it? I can't even remember what I needed now. It was one uncommon foil for 4.
Now try getting Benny to accept the trade.
I tell you, when Benny comes on, when
What's
Benny
up,
comes
Benny?
on, and
He's
now that I've
Benny's
worked out
on.
how to use my mic,
and he's heard all you bad mouthing him.
Speaking of
He's
Benny,
not in the
That's the
voice
point.
chat yet, is he?
speaking of Benny, does anyone ever watch that show Supernatural with the demons and the black eyes? Benny creeps me out with the black eyes and the vault.
Yeah, actually, I don't know why Lenny chose to be that, but like he said to me, you can choose to be whatever you want to be.
Hey, Benny, you would do an awesome Peter Garrett impersonation.
Oh my god!
Do it.
I was waiting for it.
What is up with walking drunk like a zombie thing? That was weird.
I've never tried to use it before.
That's creepy, Lenny.
I've never tried to use it before, so I just picked up the controllers and I was off and cruising around and walking around. And I'd tell you what, though, as soon as I saw that staircase, I thought, I'm going up the top of that staircase and I'm going to jump. And it's a fairly surreal feeling. I don't know if any of you have ever done it before. Has anyone ever fallen in VR?
Yes, it's terrifying.
It actually feels like you're falling, but you don't get the same type of stomach drop. So you end up being in a situation where you are. It's still pretty full on. Yeah, I wanted to keep jumping again and again. I think I jumped about 3 times in the end. I hope everyone's well. I know there's a ton of questions that people want to ask as well. So, shoot. But yeah,
Really, it's just the only question everyone's wondering is when you're going to take our trades.
yeah, everybody asks that question. When I get some time. Whoa, George
put
74.
someone on. Do you want to put an assistant on, Ben?
Yeah, I'm going to have to. I've actually talked about that previously.
Yeah, Urban Gecko, he's cheap.
Urban Gecko is the man for the job.
Yeah. I have 3 questions, if possible. Apologies to the others for taking more time. A couple months ago, streaming app was often mentioned as VIP project, but in your blogs, we now read that it's still in the work. Is launch still planning? Okay, so George 74. The thing is that we need the TV platform for that. So you might have noticed that the timer went off for it. We've got a page ready for it. We've got all the TV stuff ready. But we just need to integrate the RFOX ID before we roll it out, and then we start bringing people in. But as far as the app, hang on, what did you say? I often mentioned needs a lot of work. Yeah, so it has to be integrated into the app, and then we have to work out whether or not we need to incorporate the RFOX ID or not, or how that works. So it is going to be a massive project, so it deserves a lot of focus and attention. I will update you as soon as we've got any more than that. last Wednesday, he said new marketing team does not agree with YouTube promoters advertising RFOX, but aren't they one of the first entering point into crypto for novice people that has full wallets and are looking for simple advice on where to start with investing? Okay, so we've tried it. I think that we're all in agreement that what we believe is that people that are going to sort of do a pump and dump type message aren't really that great going forwards. But the people that we're working with for the upcoming announcements are much more about narrative and storytellers. And that's much more important for bringing in new people. So the prices are astronomical for these people for what they give you. And yeah, well, we're going to go out and ask for a public survey anyways very shortly. So we'll get some more feedback on that. Bull run. Some people predict the end in December, some 6 months from now. Raul expects Bitcoin to be between 300,000 and 400,000. What's your personal prediction, and will RFOX be able to catch time period for final stage of the bull run? Yeah, so a couple of things. We do care about token price, obviously, because of the fact that we rely on development funds, which come from tokens. So it's in our best interest for the token to be as high priced as possible. As far as predictions are concerned, I don't know. I talked about Plan B before. I think he's been pretty much spot on the money, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Bitcoin in above 100K before the end of the year. And as far as cashing in is concerned, or catching some of that bull run, I think that the companies that we are working with, that they don't seem to be in any hurry as far as announcements are concerned. They seem to think that there's still plenty of time left, and that we haven't even started the proper ramp. So I don't think they feel too worried at all. I think it's more sort of people wondering where it'll go. So not financial advice. I can't give you financial advice. All I can say is that wait for them to talk. G'day, Ben. Will there be any utility for Miss Universe NFTs? So Crypto Bull, as you know, we had great difficulty getting in contact with the contestants, and we had great difficulty in, like, one of our girls did an awesome job in getting the Miss RFOX stuff up and running and getting us on the main stage on the main night, and telecasts to a lot of people. It's been great for exposure in both the Philippines and now here in Vietnam as well. So we're now working with the group to try and work out what the best plan going forward is. We want to make it community-based. So I will update you as soon as we've got further information on that one as well. But yes, that is the plan, because we've still got 2 years left on that contract, don't forget. Gorillas, spill the beans. Soon enough. Yeah, massive. It is difficult. I get it. I get that people are saying, we want to see, like, lots of people going past all the rest of it. But the fact is, I would say that our job at the moment is to bring the inside and the outside closer together, so that you guys can see what we see on the inside. We've been doing lots of sessions internally as far as the structure and the messaging is concerned. We believe that the ecosystem is growing at such a rapid rate, and new people coming in find it very, very difficult to sort of wrap their heads around everything that it is we're doing. And we've all come to the conclusion that it's easy to simplify that messaging now that we've got what we've got on the table. So we've taken this little period to sort of sit down, work out what that strategy is, how long it's going to take for us to get a new website and all of the new messaging together, and that's what we're finalizing now. But we want this to move quickly, and we want it to coincide with the timing of announcements and partnerships and all the rest of it. So I think in retrospect, people will look back and say we did things the right way. I know it doesn't seem like that now, but the fact is that it's very easy to sell out. But what we want to do is provide off-ramps for the people that want to flip and get out. And we want to also provide, as I said today on Telegram, retirement for those who want to stay in. Hey, Benny, they were supposed to launch a couple of projects on the NFT platform in September, October. When can we expect those to become public? So, yep, everything's still on track. with the announcements that people are asking for now in relation to the vault, some of them are tied together. So already penciled in to be announced this month, and now they're confirmed. So that's projects, and in relation to those projects, we will also be announcing the NFT people that would use the NFT platform. Can you share more about recent hires? Sounds like some amazing talent coming in. Lots of talent coming in, lots of people coming in. Pete, I think that Pete, how many's on your team now?
Permanent? 7. I got 7 stuff under me now.
So Pete's got 7 under him. His team, I'll pick on him because he's here. His team is absolutely crushing it. He's got this team of like, what are they? Part robot, part sickos, in a great way.
Mainly bots.
They've got absolutely fantastic technical people coming on, which has been a key challenge for us as far as using third parties is cool as you start to ramp, but you have to be able to bring a lot of the core stuff, infrastructure stuff in-house and protect it. So Pete's got these guys that are just like sponges for learning more and more. They're already experts at what they do, but they're fantastic. The marketing side of things I can talk about. Some of you have met some of the people that are doing that. The marketing is a cross between internal people, external consultants, and also agencies. And we're just about to pull the trigger on a key hire for marketing. We've had an exhausting process and search, and we found a really good key hire as well. So I won't announce too much more about that until that person can talk to you themselves. But that's really, really good from that perspective. The marketing team's really doing very well at grassroots, and now as I said, we've got to simplify the message, fix all the website, make sure the channels are easier. One of the key struggles that we're having from a marketing perspective is the onboarding process. So as we've got more and more clients coming to us, it's hard for us to give them the attention and time they need. And we're finding that we're repeating the process again and again for each person. So we're trying to, again, stand back a little bit and just sort of say, how do we step back from this and make it so that it's an easier flow for the new clients coming on board. And some of you might see it as a bad thing, some of you will see it as a good thing, but this week alone, we're going to be rejecting 2 of the partners that have come to us that we've been talking to for a while, purely based on the fact that the required workload for us to be able to help them execute their projects is way too distracting for us. And we're picking our battles a lot more now. And the fact that we can actually sort of sit back and say we don't want to work with these people because it's too much of a time demand and not enough reward from the RFOX side of things is extremely bullish. DGen, no, Phil's not on board. He hasn't been around for a while now. We being at the stage that we're at as well, and there's certain components of our business that we haven't got right, and we are working very, very hard to sort of make sure that all of the sections function as well as each other. We've got a couple of areas of our business which are absolutely phenomenal. As you know, we've always been a little bit ahead of the curve with ideas and what to build next. And now we're starting to bring in a lot of that stuff in-house as well, a lot of that control, which is great. And that's what Pete's developing, an amazing team of people that weirdly enough have the same type of weird, ridiculous hour work ethic that he does as well. The marketing team's the same. We've got a few people on the marketing team that are just robots that don't switch off, that just go, go, go. And that's a really good sign in a way, because a lot of the new people coming in get frustrated very quickly with how come outside can't see what the inside sees. And that's where we're trying to really sort of pull the 2 sides together and make it so that there's less of a laggard effect and that you guys can see more of what we see. And as you know, with partnerships and arrangements, it's very difficult for us to openly go out and talk about stuff until it happens. But yeah, I think I've started hinting so much now that I think I just I think for most of you, some of what's coming is pretty obvious. So I'm just not trying to fight it anymore. In the interest of keeping informed and ahead of the curve, can you discuss which similar metaverse projects you think are continuing to innovate in this space? I think they're all continuing to innovate in this space, Credence. However, I also believe that a lot of people are cashing in on the buzzword, and a lot of people are either not building a metaverse or are building something that they're calling a metaverse that's not a metaverse, or are just realistically, yeah, like I say, just cashing in on the buzzwords and all the rest of it. So, look, I've referenced Sandbox a lot recently. I think that they've been around for a long, long time. So that's a really weird one, because Sandbox has been around for like a decade or so and was really struggling and not going anywhere. So what I would say is that it's the technology from this space that's helping those companies to innovate, recreate, and invigorate their models. And I think that what's happened is a lot of companies that already are in existence are also starting to realize that they're closer to being able to plug in now than they ever have been. But if you've been around for more than a decade and you've already got Care Bears, Smurfs, and all these types of things that you've got partnerships with, it's not hard to put your foot down and really go. They've done very well in bringing on partners and people that can help build out and work with them. Very different to what we do, obviously, and very different model and style. But they're probably one of the most progressed. The Decentraland, I don't really like draw parallels too much at all, even though some people say we should. I don't really see them as being remotely similar in a lot of ways. So ultimately, I think Sandbox is obviously the most mature because it's been around the longest, and I think that all of them, self included, a lot of these new ones would all have like question marks over what they are, what they say they are, and what they plan to be, and where they'll actually eventually end up. So we've got to keep our eye on everything, but ultimately, I believe we've got a unique enough selling proposition and enough plugins to make us very differentiated from the rest. Any princess metaverses on the horizon? Yeah, there is. Apparently, I've got nothing to do with it, but great question, madam. Which other metaverse project actually have a VR setup like RFOX VALT and has been developed as much as RFOX VALT? I'd say so. I'll tackle that on two levels. But the interesting thing is that when we've shown the video of the avatars walking around and that, people have said, oh, look, that's miles away from being finished, or why are you walking on funny angles and all the rest of it. We're trying to show you the progress of where we're up to. That's the first time behind the remote. We'll get the hang of it. We'll make the adjustments. We're just trying to show you that it's at that point where you can integrate and you can put yourself in a warehouse simulation environment, run around and do all of that type of stuff. What I will say is that we've chosen a very different route, and it's a question that I get a lot, and I got it twice in the Vietnamese seminars this week, and that is, why have we decided to go VR and mobile, and why have we decided to do it very differently than a lot of the AAA type games have gone? And the answer is very simple. Our target audiences won't be able to actually utilize those products if we make them that require high-end, high-spec PCs, or we make it non-accessible to people. So we've got to take a slightly different route to make sure that this is usable by the mass majority of people. So it's quite a different type of build out than some of these that are going for absolute luxury, high end, small audience, large spending, not very inclusive. They're very different. I've noticed a ridiculous boom in the metaverse claims, but really, oh mate, every week I actually have a bit of a cack to myself. I read this thing that'll make the news and it'll say such and such company to tackle the metaverse. And it's like there was literally a big Indian company in the news last week, and it was saying that they are tackling the metaverse. And what it was they were doing a new interactive website for their company. And I was like, I just don't understand some of these outrageous. I had to laugh. I'll see if I can dig that out. It's absolutely hilarious. Is there a feature in the vault when you pass from the outdoor area into the shop where the music will change to whatever is being played at the shop? So we've talked about this, Massive. I don't know if we actually definitively know the answer to that yet, but what we have sort of toyed with or requested and put up as the option is the ability for that. I think some of you were here when we first started talking about the GTA or Grand Theft Auto type of style of where you could choose your radio versus music on, music off. People asked if it could be similar to Rec Room and stuff on Oculus and Facebook, where you can choose to hear just your friends' voices, everyone's voices, no one's voices. So that stuff's yet to be determined, in all honesty. So, but the ideas from the team are, the team want to have like an RFOX radio that plays, and it's a standard feature in all of the shops. And then if you want to put your own radio or your own music on, then you just swap that out. But we just offer that as a default, but it hasn't been built or anything yet. That's just it's more sort of a wish list. And those are the types of things that come later, like getting the foundations, getting the layouts, and then getting all of that look and feel right first is the first hard part. Then you've got to put in the avatar system, and we're using a different skeletal system than Ready Player Me normally uses. So this is something new. Maybe Princess can explain, or might want to.
Maybe just explain the user story. The way we do the build is like that would be a user story. So I want to be able to play RFOX radio when I walk into an RFOX store. So that would be a user story in itself. Another user story might be when I log in, I want to be able to log in with my RFOX ID. So we prioritize all these user stories. I think last count we had about 800 user stories. Maybe it's well over 1,000 by now. And what we do is we prioritize the user stories that first we need to get to MVP stage, and stuff like that isn't in the MVP, but then it's the job of the product owner to be sitting there and researching and talking to stakeholders, and then working out, once we get past MVP, which of those user stories would be highest up the list. So there's a whole bunch of work which goes into it, but there's a whole bunch of great ideas on there. But yeah, it's just a matter of which ones get prioritized first and which ones we're able to knock off first.
Yeah, thanks for that info. That's it's important to know, because a lot of people say, what's happening, and as Wade just said, we've got more than 1,000 user stories, and that means that the amount of stuff that you have to go through, and when you're talking about team sizes, like the amount of developers and people that are working on all of the different products that we've got, you have to go through a really rigorous process of saying, we want this to happen. Who's going to build it? How does it click in? How does it work? How necessary is it? How does it move the needle? It's a massive process to go through just to get simple things in place. And back in the day when we could just say, go, 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 now we have to be much more careful, because a decision we make in one area of the business can impact another, because they all click together. So we've had to do company framework mapping and work out what it is that each business unit requires. Do they need chat apps? Do they need payment rails? How do they need it? For who? Under what circumstances? Why? And there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes for how to glue all of this together and make sure it all comes into play. So it's quite interesting. Does it look like a listing on Binance or Coinbase is possible before the end of the year? Hanford, whether it's possible or not, 100%. What is required? A phenomenal take-up in the amount of, in the case of Binance, transactions on the Binance Smart Chain. Now, we could sit down and engineer something that requires you to click every 30 seconds in the farm, for example, to claim something. And this is just a ridiculous example or a hypothetical. And then that would mean that we would have squillions of transactions going through on the Binance Smart Chain, and that's the first thing that they look for. The second thing they look for is the user volumes and the user numbers. So technically, yes, it's just a matter of, I think that with the partnerships and announcements and stuff leading into the end of the year, there is every possibility that we will get the traction necessary. But I firmly believe, as I stated before, and I could be wrong, and this is my personal opinion and nothing to do with RedFOX, I firmly believe that we will go into a massive December. And I also think there'll be a lot of competitive noise. And if that is the case, there'll be a lot of projects vying for attention and look at me. So we've got to get all of our timing right. We understand exactly what's at play and what's at stake. But if we get on Binance or Coinbase, not only are the holders happy, we're extremely happy as well, because as I stated, we are very much reliant on development funds as well, so from tokens. So we want that to happen 100%. Any update on the ETH side for RFOX Finance? Pete, I can't really answer.
Yeah, if you scroll down later, you'll see my reply. But yeah, skip that.
Sorry. Oh gosh, I'm far behind again. I think I've asked this before. No memory. Vault will be available on mobile. Yes. Will avatars be optional or required? You could probably be. Well, you can't be naked. Not sure yet.
Zen's just asking that to follow up with, can I be naked?
Yeah, I'm sure, or shot out of a tube hotel room or something. You will be able to choose avatars. What happens if you do not choose an avatar? I don't know. I will find out, but I'm assuming it'll just be in.
You'll be a generic. You'll get a generic one.
Yeah, I actually pitched before that we do something. What was that game called? Maybe you know, Wade. The game called where you're born naked and you got to get a cape.
There are many games that you start off naked, Benny.
You're
RuneScape
born
Command
naked.
is one of them.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah.
You don't technically you're not technically born naked. You just wake up in the lab reborn naked.
Yeah, that's something that has been brought up a couple of times, and I know that my son, when he plays Roblox, he says, "Dad, you need to buy me clothes." And I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Because I'm wearing the standard issue clothes, and everyone knows I'm poor." So that's we have looked at a few of those things. What do you think will be the biggest driver of traffic transactions into the vault? Traffic transactions. I personally believe the way we're headed, it's going to be these big IP, crypto and NFT based communities. Yep, that's all I can say at this stage. It'll be those communities doing derivative projects, and let's just say that the common theme and goal seems to be for a lot of these big IP projects in NFT space is they want a place for their avatars to hang out and show off their cool stuff and launch their own projects and stuff. So I think that's going to be a big avenue for a lot of transactions. I'll let you share a preview. Have you done that?
That's for internal, Benny, not for external. Sorry, I can't share the link with you guys, but that's for internal. We're still testing it out.
I got asked earlier as well, Pete. I'm not sure if we're allowed to or we want to, but the fact is that I think we kind of can, because it doesn't really impact that many people, right? It's only a few people that it does impact. But I got asked earlier today whether we could divulge any further information in relation to Megamoons and whether we had released a date for issuance.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah. We have a date already.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
I don't know whether it was communicated out or not. I've not been following our socials,
I did through my channel, but that wasn't through the official RFOX. I just went out and said it'll be out on Friday. I think it's probably been in blogs since. But yeah, I don't know. It's up to you, Pete. If you want to do a screen
them
share
preview?
or something? Yeah, why not? If people want to, do you want to see what it looks like?
Yeah, if they don't want to, then it's okay. I don't mind.
It doesn't affect a lot
But
of people, but I think it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
but I mean, I can share.
The partner that we're about to announce in a week or so is was actually like mind blowing with it. Where can the upcoming RFOX VALT avatars be minted? And also, what's the cost? We'll also incorporate some utility, DeFi yield, etc. So yeah, we'll explain that, Credence. We're looking into wearables and a lot of different stuff. It's obviously the hoverboards. Are you going to show it now, Pete, or later?
Yeah, let's catch up to the
Okay,
questions
catch up.
first, and then
Okay, yeah. Well,
so if you guys stop asking questions, then we'll get to the Mega Moon faster.
Urban Gecko, that's a good question. There has been demand for digital products, and we're also getting told if people take care of their own logistics, can they do physical products in the beginning? And the answer is we have to go through that case by case. Like Wade said before, we got user stories for everything, so we have to go through each requirement case by case. But some of the people we're talking to at the moment also want to use it as like office meeting spaces and function centers and stuff like that as well. So we have to make sure that we are open to the ability to have these people come in and help develop what they want to develop there as well. Will Pete accept the trade for RFOX 2020? He knows what's coming for RFOX 2020. It'll be a cold day in hell before he hands over an RFOX 2020. Let me give you the hot tip. I'll save you the trouble of having to answer it. Pete?
The answer is no. I'm just keeping mine. I'm not getting more, but I'm just keeping mine. No,
wish I
Benny,
had
the
Me
thing
a
is,
numbnut for
the
my
thing is,
trade.
it's not about the trades that I get or whether I want to let go. I'm not letting go at the rates that these guys are sending me. They're like ridiculous trades. It's like low ball beyond low ball trades.
Yeah, the RFOX 2020. We're putting together the. Okay, so I'm going to say. Don't worry, Pete. I'm not going to give it away, but I'm going to say this. We're putting together the marketing campaign for the all-in cut, like what surrounds that and what that will lead to. The issue that we have with the marketing campaign that we're putting together now for the announcements we're about to make is that we have to be we can tease and push and get people getting a little bit more of their heads around what's coming and why and who, but we can't actually divulge the full plan. And the reason being, what's it going to take us, Pete? About 5 or 6 weeks to implement in full, right? Roughly.
Yeah, if the princess doesn't bug me more on the vault stuff.
Okay, so roughly 5 to 6 weeks, and that's a capacity issue for implementation for this XP. And what that actually, being very honest with you and being very straight, if I go out today and announce exactly what that idea is, someone will beat us to it. And it's pardon my French, but it's a fucking good idea. And it's going to be a big catalyst for us going forwards. And we need to be first mover on that. So we'll tease and we'll give some outlines, but we're not going to explain the full function. But that utility is, what can I hint without giving things away? Let's just say that it will provide a lot of access to stuff.
That's probably as much as we can go.
Okay, but it's valuable access to stuff that is it's very valuable access. I want one badly. Ever considered offering users the opportunity to use RFOX to pay LP provider fees on RFOX Finance at a slightly cheaper cost than of the traded asset? No, it's a good idea. I don't know how.
Right now is not possible
No.
because we're using the PCS router. But
Yes.
once we get our own router, yes.
It's a good idea, mate. Keep ideas like that coming. As stated, I did say that I would talk about it as well, that we will put out a survey. A lot of people give feedback to the BAs and say, how come these guys don't move? How come these guys don't do anything about it? And I'm going to be doing an AMA with Dave from Void Cyber as well. And some of the things that we want to tackle are some of those things that are brought up. So, like, for example, people said, we've known for ages that there's going to be a Discord channel for RedFOX, and that's going to make everyone's life easier. And we've been hearing about this for a long time. Why hasn't it happened? And the simple answer to that as well is we had to get this messaging right and the channel management right. And even though it was set up, we would have had to migrate a lot of people across. Whereas now we've got a solution for that and we can move forward and we can roll that out. But we had the wrong people in the wrong room making the wrong decisions relating to this sort of stuff. And now we've got the right people making the right decisions and now we can move faster. So sometimes it might seem like we are not listening or not taking in that feedback. And we want to show that that's not the case at all. Sometimes we've just been unable to give a clear answer or direction on which way we are going. So we've just said nothing. And ultimately what we want to do is make sure that we continue to gather the feedback that you guys give us, because some of you have got some amazing ideas and they're fantastic. Some of them we're already working on when you raise them, and others just don't work or aren't feasible or don't make much sense. And that the thing is that we should be addressing all of them with a qualified response. And that's something that we want to make sure that we spend more time on. And I mentioned it earlier and I'll mention it again. It's getting much harder for me to be across absolutely everything. That's a good thing. We're at the size now where you can't possibly know everything that's going on in every corner. There's too many people working on too many different things. It's impossible to keep across everything at the same type of levels that we used to. So bringing on people in key positions for GM roles now, one of the prerequisites is to make sure that these people are quite charismatic and front facing, because they have to also take some of the load and be prepared to go out and answer your questions and talk to you and communicate to you and explain how certain aspects of the business work. That's very important. Physical stuff or access to areas? Both. Both. Will RFOX 2020 be rentable to allow access for others? Possibly, but ultimately the first use case would more than likely, it's more of a, I guess you could say it's a revenue generator. And that revenue...
That's it, you gave it out, Benny.
I'm not going to give it too much. The revenue generator, the byproduct of holding that could produce things that you are able to sell. Yes, you could sell them. Rent the outcomes. There's lots of different things you could do with that. Sounds like everything is kind of just waiting on the RFOX ID system to be complete. Not really. That's just one part. What's the hold up on that system? Is it going smoothly? I don't think it's a matter of hold up. Pete, you can probably tell more from a technical perspective. I don't think it's more of a where to integrate and when, right?
It's where to integrate and when, but the thing is there are also growing pains on that, because that system is huge. It's not just an ID, just like, if you would to log in into Amazon or something like that. It's all in one ID. You will see it when we start accepting signups and all that. You will see it, that is not just an ID.
I think there's 12 different doorways at the moment that you can get in or register through, right? 12 different ways to access. But the thing is that you also need to be aware that the RFOX ID is not actually something that is that we developed ourselves. This is something that is external. And I think it's fair to say that we're going to be by far and away its biggest client. There's not many people who do this in the space. So, and there's a reason for that. It's difficult. So it's a matter of just integrating it all. So first of all, games, and then media and TV next. And the TV, it's kind of my fault as well, because I don't want TV to be going public until it has the ID system in place. And the reason being, if we run all of these campaigns and we're bringing people in and we're doing all of this work and we're unable to capture people, it's kind of like a futile exercise, right? Because the whole purpose of opening those things up to end users is to making sure that you've got end users and not just visitors, because they all cost lots to maintain and develop and all the rest of it. Will the first QM get an RFOX 2020? I don't think. I don't know how many got left. I'm not sure how many we got left at all. Yeah, that's right. And the thing is that the thing that we're about to roll out now is going to bring a lot of new, different demographic of people into COGS as well, so that it's not just cash out all the time. There's a lot of cash coming in. So I would love to be able to just roll this out right now, but we have to follow the process, and we'll be the first to do something like this before. So I think that this is a massive play for us. Pay up if you want the best. It's expensive, isn't it? What's the going price for an RFOX 2020 now? Probably going to be a bit more after this meeting.
7.4 thousand. That's the going price right now.
7.4?
Yeah, but I think the highest that sold during that time was, I think, $21,000 US at that time.
7.4. You think about what?
Go get it, Benny.
You think about what ETH things go for that have absolutely no utility. As long as the sale happens in RFOX on the vault, does it matter what blockchain the NFT belongs to? Are all blockchains welcome? So, Caffeine, the idea of our NFT white label platform, which will also serve as the shop and marketplace and backbone operating system, is effectively, as we've explained before, but for those of you who are new, it's like a box that has hooks, is the way I describe it. So it is the box that allows you to set up your website and your page and your marketplace and your trading center. And it has, at the moment, taps into the liquidity pools of, for example, if you deploy it on Ethereum, it would tap into the liquidity pools of OpenSea, meaning if you put up your NFT for sale on the site, it would automatically list on, have the ability to list on OpenSea. So ultimately, we're working with finishing those aggregation layers so that down the track, theoretically, any blockchain can be accepted or used. It's a matter of integrating, and ultimately the long-term goal is to make sure that anybody who wanted to integrate their chain into the system could. Some of it we would seek and push to get done and try and do ourselves, and others, they'll come along by themselves and do it. And we've already talked about Immutable X. That's no, it's no secret that we'll definitely integrate with them as well. But their system's quite different. Their L2 system, they've specifically been built to do this. That's what their whole idea is. Okay, so ID system working first. Otherwise, it's like pouring water through a strainer. Well, the problem that we have, Ninja, is that we don't want to miss out on what comes in, and we're already pissed off because we had several things that didn't line up, right? So we had things releasing and people were saying, what happened to September? September was supposed to be the hugest month ever. I mean, if you look at what we achieved or rolled out and actually did in September, it was by far the most productive month we've ever had. However, it just goes to show you how many pieces need to come together. And if we had an ID system that would able to capture people, and we had the announcements and partners ready to go at the same time as everything dropped, it would have clicked a lot better. But unfortunately, it's not a perfect world, and things don't always click together the way they should. And so erring on the side of caution and making sure that you've actually got some sort of registration system set up is far smarter. Because realistically, even when you look at a TV platform, we've talked about it before, but media's big selling point will be the ability to be able to monetize video content, and for you to be able to do transfer of ownership rights and IP and all the rest of it through mint on demand IP transfers and stuff like that. That's going to be a big play for these guys. So ultimately, the bulk of those types of products and services need to be developed, and they need to be a combination of the NFT white label platform that we put out and the TV platform that we put out. So then those two have to meet and come together and provide that. So there's lots to do. Are you familiar with Somnium Space? Yes. What do you see as your competitive advantage to them? I see it as being completely different. They've got a different look, a different feel, a different unique selling proposition. I think theirs is probably, they've already got the dude flying around in the spacesuit everywhere, and they're trying to sell the little pieces and parts already. I think that they're different products for different markets, different use cases. Again, I don't draw a parallel to them. I think that they're one of the question marks as well. It's too early for to tell where or what they'll end up doing. I think most of any metaverse is really in its infant stages and still is yet to really establish its own identity. And if you want to go back to the sandbox point, in the beginning, you'd have to say that Sandbox is actually much more of a gaming platform like Roblox that's sort of evolving into something that is much more metaverse focused. So if a sale occurs in the vault, but the NFT is listed on OpenSea, who gets the fees? Yeah, that's a good question. So there's we'll have a transaction fee through the vault, but the OpenSea uses its own system. And as far as the fees from author goes, the author still gets those fees regardless of where that is. I don't see why so much attention and utility is being given to RFOX 2020 when all you had to do was put your email into a box and win one, have a friend tell you the Easter egg answers. Kogu should get more attention if you ask me. Kogu will get a lot of attention, Scott. Kogu's about to get a lot of attention. The devil likes the birds, wise man, that fella. He only trades if you accept my trades. Is there any questions here? RFOX 2020. What is happening with Kogu? So Kogu, stay tuned. Kogu is, I think, going to play a pretty pivotal role. I think personally a one-of-one gold foil is worth more, but hey, what do I know? I think personally, I think a one-of-one gold foil will always be considered to be extremely valuable and rare and expensive. Can't even get a gold foil Phoenix set, maybe 2 foils out, not even. I wonder what happened when the sale ends. Which came first, the RFOX 2020 or the Felonious promo cog? The RFOX 2020 was first, I believe. Yes. Time for the Mega Moon. Okay. I can't leave a Kogu cliffhanger like that. You said much about. Yeah. So we've talked about the. I think some of you might not have been here. We've talked about the potential for Kogu before. We've hinted about that. Some of you might be able to fill them in. What happened to the RFOX TV launch? The council was just taken off. We were just talking about that. We've the TV page is there ready. We use the TV page for the video voting system for Miss RFOX, and they've got all of the videos transcribed from YouTube on the page ready to go, as well as also the videos for Miss RFOX and a ton of other stuff. And we just need the RFOX ID so that people can actually log in and register. You ready to show, Pete?
What the heck is that?
That's badass.
You guys want to see the back?
I'll get right on that, dude.
I can't hear Benny at all. I think Benny's cut off.
I'm still here. I'm still here. I was letting you guys talk. I was just trying to work out. Someone asked how many new wallets did we get over the last 2 weeks, and I'm saying 187 for RFOX, VFOX. I'd have to tally, and then COGS. I'm not sure which. Do you mean overall or?
Yes.
Yeah. So 187, 136, and just under 1,000 if you include COGS as well as RFOX, VFOX. It's hard to also get a gauge on because the 2 weeks also includes the farming, so it's hard to know how many people came. We can track it, but it's just difficult. Hard to know how many people came out of the pool or how many people went into the new pool. That definitely changes the numbers. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really hard to give an exact number, but you have to. That's what we have to do. We have to go across COGS wallets, VFOX wallets, RFOX wallets, and then also be mindful of the pools, the LPs.
Yeah.
I'd like it to be a lot more than that, to be honest with you. And I think that obviously that will be the case very shortly. And I mean we've resisted all of those stupid crappy fraudulent ways to bolster your numbers and all the rest of it. It's very important to understand what's working and what's not working, and when we do get people in and when we don't get people in. Just like for example, the Miss You, like that was great for our white label NFT platform and great to get heaps of people through and using that. That's why we were prepared to do the RFOX cashback, but we also got some very valuable data on the fact that the bridge between getting people that have never been into crypto before to work out how to change their fiat into something that can be swapped into RFOX and then learn about using RFOX in conjunction with Ethereum gas fees to buy an NFT that reveals itself 24 hours after the purchase is a massive learning curve, a huge educational process. And, you can do what everybody else does and then say, yoo-hoo, we sold out in 10 minutes and send all your stuff to 1,000 wallets and then go, we're geniuses, we're awesome. And then you have a look at it. Like there was I took a screenshot for it. Actually, I took a screenshot earlier and I can send it actually. You guys will actually think that there's some sort of conspiracy going on, but there's not. Cogfather, Slam already has our Fox ID. Before we finish the night, do you think that TikTok NFT launch today will bring significant new users in this space? I think that if it's done right, 100%. If you have a look at what are they called? Not Daiku, the big Chinese company that does more than $1 billion in revenue of social gifting every year. All of the big telecasters, streamers, influencer platforms have been looking to monetize their gifts and social gifting. So I think if they do it right, and there's no reason to think that they wouldn't, I think that it will be big for the space. And what will be even more important from our perspective, from a very selfish perspective, is it'll be very big for us because that's a large component of what media will tackle. So it's just that it'll be another tick of validation that we're in the right place at the right time. So that's what we've been trying to madly get towards building so that we can combine TV and media, but we're still a fair way away, but we'll move as fast as we have to. All right. Thank you very much for your time, guys, and thank you for joining us again. Hope we got to answer your questions. Like I said, keep an eye out. There'll be a survey, and I'll make sure that we collect a whole heap of your feedback very shortly.